I'm Dinah de Riquet-Bons. I represent the trans community, the trans sex workers and trans people living with HIV. I learned very young about HIV when I was 20. When I learned that I got HIV, I was diagnosed in New York, where I live. And yeah, that was the first time that I realized that I myself had to deal with this during my life.
Do you see parallels between COVID now and HIV, the other pandemic?
So I mean, for those people who are really vulnerable already and have to live and survive in their community, it's like really important that they don't fall out of, let's say, security networks.
What is the theme of this year's World AIDS Day, the other pandemic? What does that mean for you?
So the other pandemic means to me that there is another time where I feel anxiety, and it all has to do with medical systems where you can go into or you should go into when something happens with you, and there is a big question mark with how you get out of there. So it's the same thing as when it was with HIV. There was this pandemic, it was a very severe disease and you never knew if you would survive it.
So, what is your message for this World AIDS Day?
The message that I would have is in line with what happens at this moment in society, I think. It's like where people who live in the margins, who feel discrimination and racism and exclusion, that the focus is as well very much on them, because if they live with HIV, especially all these different layers of exclusion make that they have a really hard time, and it's not a fun life. So I mean, it really needs to be out, and they really need to be centered as well in this message.
Okay.
As a sex worker, I see that there are really difficult times because it's all about like contact, physical contact, how to avoid it, and especially the fear around touching and bodily contact. And I think, and I also have seen that in my period with HIV in the 90s, that sexuality, you cannot suppress it. It will come out, and it needs to have a place. So I think it's really good to be very keen on it, and especially focus on how to do sexual acts in a way that you can still have lots of pleasure, and hopefully we will get out of this situation soon, and then we can all have sex and have great fucks again.